Flight KF187 to Ibiza is now ready for boarding. Please have your passport ready for inspection.
Chapter 19. Tripping on Sunshine. People don't take trips. Trips take people. The words of John Steinbeck. Welcome aboard this Thomas Cook Boeing 737 to Ibiza. The calm and reassuring voice was one we would become very familiar with over the course of the most unforgettable flight I have ever taken. Overhead lockers yawned and swallowed holdalls and jackets as people took their seats. Outside, a late September sun was just visible over the flat roof of the terminal building, as the English autumn blew in on a gentle southwesterly breeze. I walked down the central aisle and checked my boarding pass for the first time to see where I was sitting. 9, 10, 11, 12, 12A, 12B. Bugger. I was dismayed to find myself in the middle seat. No window to wander from, nor fuselage on which to rest my head. No easy access to the toilet or opportunity to admire the uniformers working in the central aisle. The middle seat on a full plane is a dowdy housewife trapped in a loveless marriage, a cornered king on a checkered chessboard, a cabin fever family on a bank holiday Monday motionless on the M6. Whatever your age, when you're in the middle seat, you're backed up in a hyperactive toddler strapped into a car seat. As the song nearly says, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, here I am, stuck in the middle with me. Having bought 80 seats on the plane for my group, I was probably surrounded by my own guests. Now, they were unaware I was the organiser of their package holiday, which suited me, because if they were DJs, they'd be hassling me for slots. Nearly 2 hours into the flight and all was well. People were chatting, conversations fueled by the drinks trolley. Ibiza's eternal summer was only another 30 minutes away. A large sausage finger rose like a pink Saturn V rocket from the aisle seat next to me, scoring a direct hit on the button with a flight attendant figure on it. The digit belonged to the bloke next to me, who'd been reading Mixmag for the duration of the flight, and who I assumed was with a girl with a short blonde hair in the aisle seat opposite. The flight attendant duly arrived, heard his request for a cup of water, and returned a few minutes later holding a white plastic cup. Then, after looking round to ensure he wasn't being observed, my neighbour, a moon-faced raver in his early 30s with close-cropped hair and crystal blue eyes, turned to face me to explain his request. Just a little something to help this go down. In his hand he held a black speck. I was unsure what it was and examined it closely. His grin gave it away. It was a microdot, a dose of LSD. Raising his hand to his mouth, he licked the trip from his outstretched palm and took a swig of water. My expression was the facial equivalent of acid on a crowded plane. Really? He read it and grinned. I'm playing at 4 a.m. in Judgment and like to be at the floaty part of the trip when I'm behind the decks. If I drop now, when we land, I'll just be taking off. Further conversation revealed this was a routine he always followed when flying to Ibiza. If he was playing in Eden that night, he must be one of my DJs. I hoped for both our sakes he'd be able to hold it together and not make Judge Jules, who'd given me the slots at his party, regret it. I made a mental note to be around the booth for the changeover with someone sane who could step in and play between 4 and 5 a.m. if needed. For the time being, it was best if he remained unaware of my identity. Enjoy this trip, I said in my best Theme from S Express voice. He smiled and leaned over conspiratorially, mischievously confirming the next line. And it is a trip. He held out his hand and introduced himself. People call me Phil. Phil the Pill. And winked. This was awkward. Even though he hadn't met me, he would have been aware that someone called Kirk was running the event. So rather than give him a name, I merely replied, Nice to meet you, Phil. I'm a federal undercover air marshal, and you're under arrest for possession of Class A substance. He went white as a sheet, before my wink drew a relieved roar of laughter. Oh, you had me there. He then turned to the blonde girl and said, Oi, babe, get this geezer. I sat back to listen to my Walkman. All was quiet for the next 10 minutes, except for some excited whoos from a group of girls on the other side of the plane as we flew over Barcelona. The 2 hours in the air queue for the toilets at the front grew halfway down the plane. Tanked up and tattooed lads stood in line waiting to expel the 3 pints of Stella they'd drunk from the airside Wetherspoons earlier. Increasingly, the smooth ride became bumpy, causing periodic whoos as the line rose and fell like they're on one of my North Sea club cruises. The fasten seatbelt signs glowed amber.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain Chris Wills on the flight deck. As you may have noticed, the seatbelt signs are switched on as we're getting reports of a storm over Ibiza.